Hey friends, so before we dive in today, I want to share something with you that I am so excited about. Illuminate You, the collective is back. It's 2 days in person in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina for the mompreneur, the female entrepreneur who wants to get clear, get confident, and get connected so that you can win at work without losing at home. So here's what those 2 days are going to look like. I want you to imagine walking in Thursday evening to a privately curated connection dinner at a beautiful upscale restaurant where we will have our own private space. You'll be greeted with a fun mocktail, signature mocktail, and a welcome gift. But most importantly, this night is about you being surrounded by women who get it. Women who are building businesses and building lives as moms, as wives, and the person that everyone else looks to. And by the end of this evening, all the walls have already come down and you are ready for Friday. So Friday, we're going to spend a full day understanding your personality blueprint, which is how you're naturally wired in your decision making, what your superpower is. What are the things that naturally drain your energy and naturally give you energy? What does your communication and leadership style look like at its best? From there, we're going to create plans personalized for you around all of that so you can go home and implement on Monday morning and know exactly what to focus on. So this is happening on August 27th and 28th. I'm limiting it to 20 women to keep it intimate. And the first 10 who register get 2 private one-on-one sessions with me as a bonus. So one before the event and one after. And a few of those are already gone. So I want you to go to the link in the show notes, or you can go to martinewilliams.com/the collective 2026. Save your spot. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast, where you will learn simple solutions to win at work without losing at home. Hi, my name is Martine Williams, and I am your host and CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. And this podcast is your one-stop shop to creating a burnout-proof life and business by elevating your clarity, confidence, and courage. Friends, it's time to say goodbye to being the yes girl, to procrastinating on your goals and living in overwhelm. And it's time to say hello to creating healthy boundaries, healthy mindsets, and healthy habits so that you can achieve work-life harmony. Your next breakthrough starts here. This is the Life Coaching for Mompreneurs podcast. Let's do this. Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so glad that you are tuning in today because today we're going to be talking about why in-person matters more than ever right now. And I truly believe that we are exhausted from our screens. And I don't mean that like in a dramatic way, but I just mean that somewhere along the way, we've started to do everything online. And now we're in the age of AI, and it's like, what's real and what's not real? Our communities are online, our coaching is online, our networking is online, our learning is online, our connections are being made online because it's convenient. Right. And I'm so thankful for the online opportunities that are out there and the ability and the ease in which I can serve my clients online. But we are more digitally connected than we've ever been before. But I feel like a lot of us are more personally disconnected than we've ever been at the same time. And this has been like the trend, right? We've been kind of saying this ever since the age of smartphones, but I think it's gotten worse and worse, especially after COVID, when everyone got comfortable with working from home and tuning into church online. And it just made it easier for us to just stay home. And if you're someone like me who thrives on people, like my number one personality trait is my extroversion. That is my superpower, which means I thrive on being in rooms with people, online, but also more importantly, in person. And this really started to come to light for me about a year ago. And I realized I just was really struggling with coming to my desk, getting on my computer and doing the work that's required as an entrepreneur, the selling, the marketing, all of that. And what I realized is that when I was in direct sales, most of my sales, marketing, and delivery happened at the home party in rooms with women. And that's why I was so successful, because I had the opportunity to do what I do best in person where I felt the most energized. So I'm bringing that back. And the more opportunities that I create for women to be in these experiences, the more and more confirmation I am getting that this is not just something that I'm feeling. So I want to talk about why in person matters more than ever right now, what actually happens in rooms that cannot happen on a screen, and why I think getting yourself into the right room might be one of the most important investments that you make in your business and your life this year. So let's just dive in. So again, I think a lot of us are feeling this, and maybe you haven't said it out loud, or maybe you've dismissed it for whatever reason. But the moment I stopped dismissing it, and the moment I stopped trying to force myself to do what I saw everyone else doing in the online communities, and really just start leaning into what am I connected to right now? Because that's the beauty of entrepreneurship is you get to build what you want, right? And how you want to build it. We don't have someone telling us we have to do it a certain way. And sometimes you see someone having success doing it their way. And you're like, well, let me just do that because she's finding success there. And there are times to do that. But for me, in the season that I'm in right now, I just found that that wasn't enough. Like I was trying to do it, I was forcing myself to do it, and I just wasn't connected to it. So online connection is real. I mean, I'm in an incredible mastermind that's a virtual community right now, and I just signed up for my fourth round, and it has genuinely changed my business. We just had our celebration call yesterday, closing out the last round before we start the new round, and I'm telling you, like I'm not here to dismiss the value of online spaces because they are real and they do matter. And if you have the right person who is curating those spaces, as my coach has done, like it's incredible and incredibly impactful. But I think you and I both would agree that there is still a difference between connection that happens through a screen and connection that happens in a room. You can't physically give someone a hug through the screen, right? Like we have all the emojis and like it's just interesting how technology has tried to give us and replace with the heart emoji and the hug emoji and the prayer emoji and all of those things. But there's nothing like being in a room where you can physically hug someone when they're having a moment, when you can make real eye contact with that person and let them be seen, when you can clap for them in person and they hear it. So I think that we've been living so fully online in the online world for so long, a lot of us has forgotten what the difference actually feels like. And I used to hold retreats twice a year for my leaders when I was in direct sales and go to in-person conferences. And I had forgotten because it had been a few years what it felt like to be in those rooms and to create those rooms. And so last year I created my first retreat for my private one-on-one clients and it was amazing. I was like, this is what I was born to do. And this is what women really want. And they loved the coaching and they loved like the things that they were learning, but they equally loved almost even more just being in the room with women where they could step away and take the mask off and feel the energy of other women in the room. So that was a confirmation. And then I did, my April collective, and that was another way of me, creating an experience for myself and also for other women who I knew wanted to be in person with other women. So what I notice when I talk to mompreneurs, female entrepreneurs, is that they're consuming more content than ever. Podcast, courses, summits on Instagram, like consuming. And they're lacking connection because content is good. I mean, I'm all about learning and creating content and consuming content, but content and connection are two different things. And you can have all the content in the world and still feel completely alone in your journey. And there's only so much connection that can be created in consuming content and even following your favorite person online, right? And so there's a gap there. And in-person experiences are, I think, one of the only things that can create those kinds of shifts, those kinds of being seen moments in a real profound way. Again, yesterday, our celebration call, which was virtual, like there was all kinds of celebrations and there was tears and there was like this room, created. And I was one of the ones sharing these things. So again, I'm not downplaying online spaces, but you might be in a season where I am, where I want to pull away a little bit more from online experiences and I want to create more in-person things. And so I want to just encourage you to lean into that. Don't dismiss it. That's a little whisper that might be there telling you, hey, are we connecting or are we isolating? Are you just consuming content and creating a false sense of connection, or are you truly connected? And the first thing you have to do is you have to get connected to yourself, which I talked about connecting to yourself and knowing yourself in a previous episode, last week's episode, about what the personality blueprint experience provides for you. So the first connection is connection to yourself so that then you can connect with others. But every single time that I've created a room for women, it's even when I think back to my 31 days and the retreats, like it's unless you've been in a room like that, it's really hard to explain the energy. It's really hard to explain the acceptance. It's really hard to explain the sisterhood. But I'm going to do my best here on this podcast because I believe for some of you, this might be the most important shift that you do in your life and in your business is to get in a room. Quick pause. If you've been listening and you're ready to stop performing your life and start leading it, if you know you're ready to feel better now, not later, and you're ready for support that actually creates sustainable transformation, I have private one-on-one coaching spots open. And inside this coaching, in Illuminate You coaching, we don't guess. We use your unique personality blueprint built from the science-backed personality and performance tool called the ProScan, the one you've heard me talk about here in the podcast. This is used so that every decision, every boundary, every shift is designed specifically around your wiring, not someone else's. This is my aligned success method. It's not hacks. It's not try harder. It's not mindset glitter. It's a real solution. It's rooted in science, strategy, and your unique design. So you can lead your life as the woman you actually are, not the woman others expect you to be. Now is the time. Take the step. Book your clarity call at martinewilliams.com/clarity. All right, back to the episode. When you're in a physical space with other people, not on camera, not through a screen, actually in the same room, breathing the same air, there's just this connection that happens. The walls come down faster, not because of some magic like icebreaker or exercise that we do. It's just something about being in that physical presence with another human being that creates a level of safety that a screen simply cannot replicate. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever been to a meeting and someone is talking behind the podium. The podium actually creates a wall. And so everything I have been taught is to come around from the podium so that there's nothing in between you and the person that you're talking to. It's like a subconscious thing that happens. And so the screen is kind of the same way. So when you're physically in someone's space, it does create a level of safety. And when the walls come down, the conversations go places that it may take a little bit longer online. Like both of my retreat and Illuminate You the Collective, like the swiftness of connection that happened was mind-blowing for women who did not know each other. And I think they just, again, this true desire and like almost this starvation of connection was like they just couldn't wait to do it. And they didn't care they didn't know these people. And they knew that this was a space where they could just be themselves and they didn't have to perform or put on a mask. So when that kind of honesty and safety is created and you're able to share something maybe that you've been carrying around quietly for months, whether it's a celebration, because a lot of you may not have a room where you feel like you can be celebrated in. There's naysayers about your entrepreneur journey. There are the Debbie Downers. There's the people who are so fixed in their mindset that they're not even willing to look at growth. So when you get yourself in a room where you can share your wins and your struggles, there's just this realization, number one, that you're not alone and that you're not the only one. And that you're probably actually not behind, you're right on time. You also get this realization that like, I'm a human, I'm not superhuman, and so is everyone else in that room. And so there's this like, there's a hope that gets restored, there is a confidence that gets leveled up. And again, in my experience, like that moment of recognition and being seen can't fully be replicated in a Zoom call or just a Facebook group. It's in the physical room. And from doing this work for over 20 years, that moment of recognition is often the thing that finally gives a woman permission to change. Like my retreat that I had for one of my our private one-on-one clients, like one of the attendees, she got on that plane and got home and she said something in me just shifted. And she was no longer willing to tolerate some certain things that were going on in her life. And it was visible. The whole group saw it because she sent it in the group chat afterwards, and the whole group saw it and they were like, wow. Right. And that was because of being in the room with women who were sharing their journey and sharing their struggles and sharing how they were showing up. And another one said, like, I just have never been in a room with women that were so strong and also so humble. So it's not a strategy. It's not a framework. It's not a podcast episode. It's the experience of truly being seen by another human in real time. And the research backs this up. So I wanted to share something that I came across recently that validated everything I've been watching in my own work. And it came from Success Magazine. And I think I alluded to it on the last episode, but Success Magazine is one of the most respected publications in the entrepreneurial space. And recently they published an article about the rise of small destination retreats and intimate in-person experiences for entrepreneurs. And what they found was that the women and men who were investing in these experiences weren't doing it for the content. They were doing it for what happens when the right people are finally in the same room. They were like the sweet spot for real transformation they found was like 10 to 20 people. So it was intimate enough that you actually know the people you're sitting next to, and small enough that you couldn't hide, and big enough that you could find your people. So that's not a coincidence. I think this is by design. And for me, it was confirmation that I'm moving in the right direction. And not only for me, but there are people out there who are really wanting to create more experiences like this. And I'm starting to see more and more entrepreneurs create these experiences in their programs or in their offers. But it is exactly why I am intentionally capping the collective at 20 women, not as a marketing tactic, not as a urgency thing. It's a design choice. Because I've seen what happens in a room that size. And I've seen what happens when it gets bigger. And the intimacy, to me, is everything. I have personally been in lots of rooms in my entrepreneur journey and just in my life, like different sizes, Bible studies, different size conferences, and walking in a room where I can be seen and actually have close proximity also to the coach or the person facilitating. So I can ask my questions and get her unique perspective on my stuff, getting her eyeballs on my business is really valuable. And it's not that she tells me the perfect thing or anybody else in the room tells me the perfect thing, but it's just, I feel very seen. I feel understood. And it just finally gives me permission to dream big and to go big and to, move forward with what I'm doing. And I've also been in rooms that didn't change me. I've been to the big conferences where I was one of hundreds, thousands actually, where I took notes furiously and left with a full notebook of notes and went home and did exactly nothing different. The difference was never the content. It was always the room. It was always the room. And what happens after that room and the accountability that takes place when you have that smaller group, the size of it, the intimacy of it, the quality of the women in it, whether there was a space for, real conversation or just a space for more information. Like, we don't need more information, y'all. I think you know this. I think you've heard me say this several times here on the podcast, but most of us don't have a knowledge problem. We have an implementation problem. And when you're in a small room, there's going to be some integration. There's going to be some implementation that happens because you have that close proximity to the facilitator, to the coach, and also to the other women. So I created the collective because I wanted to build the first kind of room, the kind that actually changes something. Like, I wanted to create a different experience and I wanted to make it accessible to the mompreneur, to the female entrepreneur who has been consuming a lot of content alone for too long and is ready to finally be in a room where transformation can happen because it's the small group. So when you get in a room like this, and I know I've been talking about this, and maybe it's just because I've been thinking about it so much. When I envision the room that these women have come in and envisioning the next room that you all hopefully are going to be walking into, the private dinner that we have, not knowing the women, but then like 3 hours later, 2 hours later, like you're exchanging phone numbers and following each other on social, and like just the connection that happens there. It's really, really powerful. So I want to leave you with a challenge today when you think about investing in yourself. This could be personally or professionally. I want to leave you with a question of, when was the last time you invested in an in-person experience for yourself? Not just a networking. I know sometimes we go and we network, and that's great. But when was the last time you went to an in-person experience for you? Not for your family, not even for your business technically, but for you, like for your growth, for your clarity, for your connection with other women who understand your life. And if you're having to think about it and you're like, I can't remember the last time I did that, that might be your answer. Test me on this. Try this. Allow yourself to be in a room with women in a small setting and just see what happens. Maybe you've never had that experience before. And maybe you might be scared. Maybe there's like some fear of like being seen. I get that too. I just went to Utah for a speaker retreat. It had 10 women in it. And I knew I was probably walking in as the newbie, to not newbie to speaking, but newbie to like having a speaking business. And so, I mean, I was feeling all sorts of things walking in, but the right person curating the right room, like that comes down really quickly. The walls come down really quickly. You realize, oh, she's just like me. She puts her pants on the same way I do, one leg at a time, right? And I'm honestly like, I love to be in rooms where I'm not the smartest person in the room. Like I'm going there because I want to learn from other people. So maybe you're feeling a fear about being in an in-person experience. And I want you to check that fear, because you might not feel confident, but you can always choose courage. You can always choose courage. So maybe that's the challenge also for you. Number one, when's the last time you went to an in-person experience? Maybe you've never been to one. Could it be the thing, not the strategy, not the new routine? Like, could this be the thing that changes everything for you in your business and your personal life? To have connections with women who get it, and then to actually spend some time doing this work on yourself. So that's what the August Collective is about. That was kind of some of the reasons why I decided to do this. And it's happening on August 27th and 28th in Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 2 days, 20 women only. And again, Thursday night is a curated private dinner at my favorite restaurant here, the coolest place, and then a full day Friday workshop. And I always want to also remind you of the added bonus of 10 women. The first 10 who register get 2 private 30-minute sessions with me. You can go to martinewilliams.com/the collective 2026. Sorry, my brain blanked for a second. It'll be in the show notes for you as well. Come find me on Instagram if you have any questions. There's also a button on the page if you're like, I have questions and I'm not sure if this is my next step. Let's have a conversation. Don't let this opportunity pass you. Let's have the conversation. And my job, again, is to help you to make a decision, whether it's to come into the room or not. My goal is for you to have a powerful yes or a powerful no. So I'm always going to say, get yourself in the room, because I want to see you there. And I know what happens when you will get there. So get yourself in the room, friend. You deserve it. And I will talk to you next week. Well, that's a wrap, friends. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I really hope it met you right where you are and gave you some encouragement for your day. Could you do me the biggest favor and leave me a rating and review? Seriously, it's the best way for you to support the show. And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Thanks again. And until next time, I am believing in you always.